I'm Jodie De Winter.
And I am Susan Grant.
And we are Bell Street,
who are an events band and production company.
And we're here to talk to you today about our fun and failures
on our journey from being scared to doing it anyway.
And today we have a very special guest for you, all the way by the magic of Zoom from Australia.
We have the wonderful Ruth Woods, who we have just had so much fun listening to with all her creative projects and her creative process.
Yeah, Ruth owns Craft School Oz, which gives out workshops and teaching, and also she's running courses on how to get your own book published. So lots of tips, practical tips for us, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was good, because also she's my auntie.
Yeah.
So it's just nice to catch up, really. But we think you'll find it really helpful and really enjoyable. So
enjoy.
So welcome today, as we meet Ruth Woods, who we've just been asking how you would describe yourself, what you are, and we've decided creative practitioner is the best description, which I think is a lovely title.
Yeah.
So it's lovely to meet you.
You too, Sarah. Susan,
well,
sorry.
It's all time.
That's in my head.
And we are talking to you. You're in Australia. Could you tell us which part are you in?
So I'm in Melbourne, Victoria, just on the outskirts of Melbourne, in a lovely place called the Yarra Valley, where all the grapes grow for the wine.
Nice.
So it's rather pretty.
And also another fact, listeners, Ruth, you are Joni's aunt.
Yes, I am.
I come from a big family of creative women, and I'm very proud of it. And
there's a lot of them. Yep.
Yeah, and we're really excited. I'm excited to talk to you more about how this has all come about, because obviously you're in Australia and I've been following along what you're doing, and we're always watching people and like people who are kind of doing inspiring things and creating, and then also being really, as you've been, really successful as well. So I'm really excited to pick it apart, because obviously we don't get to chat much because you're in Australia. So
I know we don't, and yeah, that will be really nice to share. So yeah, that's good.
Right then, well, do you want to first start by explaining what the Craft School of Oz is?
Yeah,
and we could maybe work backwards. So where are you now, and what are you teaching and doing?
Okay, so Craft School Oz has been in existence for about 11-12 years, so quite a long time. I've always taught and stuff creative things, so that's just evolved from that. But at the moment, what I do is I record online workshops that get sold all over the world, usually in the area of basketry and kind of embroidery stitching topics. But I also teach art, business, creative business kind of things as well. And that is a really passionate bit about what I like to do. And we've just, we did a webinar around publishing your own book. So that was quite a different thing. So because I published a book a couple of years ago and I learned all this stuff, it was like, oh, wow, I think people would benefit from it if I shared it. So we put a webinar together. The woman who works with me, who is the techie, I can do a certain amount of tech stuff, but she's the really good techie person, helped me put a webinar together, and we had about 20 people enroll. So that was really exciting. So that's kind of current, and we're going to turn that into a course. So there's lots of things happening. Occasionally I will do a face-to-face workshop if it's really tempting. The last workshop I did was actually a year ago, and a woman contacted me from a winery, and she said, if I collect all the vines and all the do everything basically, which is what I would normally do, collect the vines, soak them, dry them, everything, would you have a workshop here? And we will provide a beautiful lunch. And I thought, well, I actually can't refuse that. So that was the last one I did, and that was great. And it was very easy because I just turned up and it was like, right, this is what we do. Whereas normally I do all the prep work for it and everything. So, and I'm currently looking at some digital downloads. So that's kind of a little bit of a side shoot. And yeah, I have got many hours of videos and things. So we're trying to work out how to cut and, you know, manipulate them so we can come up with other things as well. So that's probably where I'm at now.
So cool. You sound like us. You've got like your thing you do, and then like, oh, but also this and a little bit of this, and I really want to work on this. It's
That's
like,
right. Yeah, it's very difficult to not have too many things going at once.
And like you say, it's nice, it's lovely to be able to run things and for them to be your own project, but actually to be able to turn up and just do and then walk away. Not have to clear
that was amazing. That was just so cool.
yeah.
Then the girl said to me, she said, oh, I thought it was a good idea at the time because what she had to do was massive. I said, yeah, it is a lot of work, isn't it? So that was funny.
So let our listeners, all of them, know, like, have you always been creative? Have you always been creating? And then what was your journey into where you are now? Because I know you've done quite a few things, and it'd be really interesting.
I've had many careers, and I always encourage people to not just stick with one thing. You've got to have lots of experiences, and I don't know, I've probably had half a dozen different main careers. And it's great when you kind of go, I really like to do that. And you kind of start exploring it and you kind of go, oh, this is cool. Or no, that doesn't work. We'll just stick to that. So that's good. That's good. As a creative person, I think that is a healthy thing to do. So I have always been creative. I remember being at home with my mum before I started school and having a cheap Barbie doll. It wasn't a real one, but I remember her giving me a needle and thread, and I had a bit of fabric, and I remember cutting this material and putting it on the doll and stitching it on the doll. That's my first memory of kind of doing that kind of thing. And then I've done knitting and sewing, and I've done a lot of that. But as I kind of got to the end of my school years, I became really interested in sewing, and Mum had always done a lot of sewing. She was a sewing machine demonstrator, so we always had a good sewing machine. We used to have the old treadle, and you know, and then I just cut and I left school, and the route that I was going to take didn't happen, and so I ended up in a factory machining, and it was just so depressing. It was just awful. And then my mum, who was really good at getting her children jobs, this is one of her key things that she could do. She was talking to a woman who was the head of fashion at a local college. And she said, oh, my daughter really wants to do fashion. And so I went to see this woman, and she was just delightful. And she said, well, you know, you don't have to take the normal route. You don't have to go to uni and do that. You can actually do a day release course 1 day a week and maybe work in the factory 4 days and get release for 1 day and do it that way. And she actually found me a job, this woman, where I applied for it. And because I'd worked in a factory, I got the job. So then they allowed me to go to college 1 day a week, and I learned to do fashion cutting and design, which was perfect. So I did that, and you know, I had many jobs working in different factories in the design rooms and stuff. So it was kind of encouraging that I could start there and kind of change and go through that process. Then, you know, I left and had children, and then I had my own room where I used to cut and sew and make. And I used to make like punky kind of wind cheaters, sweatshirts and leggings and things with zips and chains on for about 5 boutiques in Leicester. That was a lot of fun. So while the kids were little, I was doing things like that, and I'd sew while they were asleep, or I might get the childminder to look after them, and I'd have 3 hours 3 times a week. That was like my sewing time. But so that was really good. And then eventually we moved to Australia, and then we moved to Australia and the economy was really good. And then within months it plummeted. And in the early 90s, which is probably before you remember the finances of the world, but it dived, and everything like my husband lost his job, and then it was like, what are we going to do? And so there was a new program in Australia called the New Enterprise Incentive Scheme for people who are on the dole. And it would help you set up your business, and then actually you do a 6-week business course, intensive business course. You write a business plan, and then they give you the dole for a year. And then after a year, you're supposed to be self-sufficient. So I thought, oh, I think I could do that. So I did the course. It was the best course I ever did. It taught me so much about business. There were lots of creative people on the course, which was really good. And then I just kept sewing and making things. And I actually ended up, so this took me on another kind of path, but I ended up making school uniforms for 12 schools. It wasn't kind of very creative. It was my own business, but and that was, that became very big very quickly. So I had 3 women working for me sewing. After that, I separated from my husband then, and I just kind of went into a bit of a dark place. And I thought, oh, what am I going to do? And then I thought, while the kids were still young, I was able to still get like parenting allowance. And I thought, I'm going to go to college and just do a visual arts diploma. So I did. And it was purely just for me. And I would teach 1 day a week. So I was teaching sewing and various things. And I did this visual arts diploma, and it was just wonderful. It kind of restored my soul and filled my cup and allowed me to be creative, which was really, really great. So I did that. And after I finished that course, actually, at the end of one of the years while I was there, we had the opportunity to go to the outback in Australia, which is like another planet. And so there was 15 of us that went on this trip, and it was a field trip to do drawing and explore, the outback and sleep outside under the stars. And we were there for 3 weeks, and it was amazing. So it gave us enough material to draw and to explore for many, many years. So we did that. Then when I left, I thought, oh dear, I need to get a job. I need to get a job to pay my mortgage. And I became the manager of an adult education centre. And my primary kind of area was to pull more art classes into this college. And so the whole art department just grew and grew and grew, and it became known as this place where you do great art courses. So that was like another step. Then I left there. I was there for about 3 years, and I went and worked for local government, which is completely out of left field, but it paid a lot of money. I managed to pay my mortgage off. But because I went there, I also got the opportunity to go and work in Arnhem Land, which is the north of Australia, in an Indigenous community, which was incredibly special. So I was working with them, and one lady taught me how to coil baskets. So that's kind of where that's come from. And we had an amazing time there. And then when I came back, I thought, oh, what are we going to do? And that's when I started to teach workshops. And that was a couple of years in the development stage. And the rest is kind of like what Craft School Oz is now. So it's been quite a creative life, but some ups and downs, and then some, like working for council for 5 years was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. So it was good to get back into the creative stuff.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you remember like significant bits where you like learned intensely, like the business course and the visual arts thing, where it's almost like you kind of have to go back and get plugged back in to create.
Yes.
And then you've got like the creative battery to last working through some government stuff. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because you do have to find those things that like re-inspire you to move you forward, don't you?
And being around the right people as well, finding a new tribe each time and being able to take a little bit and give a little bit to.
Yeah. Finding your tribe is really important. I think that's kind of like I've still got friends now that I met when I was doing my visual arts diploma, and they're still around, and we still like have our conversations around creating and making art, and it's we go down the rabbit hole with it and go to Melbourne and look at the national galleries and things together and stuff. So that still happens, and it's really important. If you're a creative person, you just have to keep going there.
Yeah. One of the things that kind of we really thought we'd like to dig into with you is the kind of the creative business side, because obviously as two creatives, it's something we really struggle with, is the kind of the balance of being creative and also having to make money, having to feed your children, and having to show up and manage other people while the business is going on and you're trying to fill yourself up creatively. So we thought we would talk to you a bit about that and like pick your brains a little bit, if that's okay.
Okay. Yep.
So
Hope I remember it.
well, just how do you find that balance? Just anyway, because your children are grown up now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously you must find that balance a bit easier now, do you? Or is it still?
I think that work-life balance at the moment is actually quite hard, because I'm constantly thinking of things to film and make to make money. So that's kind of like this, well, we've got to make some money. And then it's like, but I actually need to spend the weekend painting, because I need to just be outside painting and just getting in that, amazing space where you just lose yourself. So that is difficult. It's always difficult. And sometimes, I'm making videos and I'm making content, which is what we have to do now. We have to make content to share all the time, which is a huge stress doing that. And then you kind of go, oh, I've got to do all these emails. I've got to do my tax. I've got to make sure I'm making enough money and that my profit is enough and it's working. And, you're constantly doing things like that. And it is always difficult. So I do have somebody who helps me, and she's trying to do all those things, but it means I need to pay her. So I still need to make enough money to pay her to do those things. And it's a real balancing act. It really is. I mean, there's sometimes, one weekend, a couple of weekends ago, I thought, oh my goodness, why are we getting all these sales? And for some reason, the algorithm has decided that it likes my video and it'll get out to all these people and I'll make 20 sales. And you'll kind of go, what did we do? Why can't we keep doing that? Why doesn't it always work?
It's always a mystery. It's always a mystery. So
you just don't know why. It just kind of, and then we might put out a newsletter. So we like to put out a newsletter as regularly as we can. And then that will spark off sales. And then we'll put another one out and we won't sell anything. And so it is hard. It's really hard to balance that up.
Yeah, we haven't got a newsletter yet, and it's on. We must do it by the end of the year because it's on our to-do list, and we keep trying to carve out time to do it. And it's been a real block in our minds, technically, for some reason.
Yeah. Some things just seem to be just have that block, and I wonder whether when you are working with all these creative, lovely vibes and juices going around, and it's here. Something like that it's probably really simple, but actually
I think with that kind of thing, it's just about doing it. So just say we've just got to start, we've just got to put one out and have an idea of what that's going to look like, or what you're trying to tell your readers or your subscribers. What is that going to look like? And I think that is really important, like thinking about that. And we were always like looking, like today we were looking at stuff. And this week I bought, I didn't buy it, it was free on Marketplace, a treadle sewing machine. And I've been listening to another podcast called Haptic and Hue. And it's an English podcast and it's all about textile history. And they were saying that the Singer sewing machine, when it came out, after about, I think it was in 1860, the people, this is amazing, this story, the people who were marketing it decided that they would give women hire purchase credit to buy the sewing machine. And because they did that, there were all these women, they weren't like lower class, they would have been kind of lower middle class, were able to sew and to sell their skills by making dresses and things, and it just lifted them all up. And they, like, still today, women work from home for factories, and they were given this credit. And I just think, wow, that was 1860 that these women were able to have this machine on hire purchase and just slowly paid it off. I think that's amazing. So just that story, I think, is worth putting in a newsletter for
Yes.
people to read. That's where I was going with that. But yeah.
Yeah. Going back to the content.
Yeah.
So obviously when you're making content, especially for you, you're giving something away for free,
Yep.
aren't you? How do you pick how much you decide or what you decide to put out there for free and what you kind of keep to charge?
Yeah.
What's the kind of thought process behind that?
That is a difficult one, but when I started like 11 years ago, I put a little video out, how to start a starter circle to coil, right? And I thought, maybe this is a bit too much, but now it's had like 500,000 views, and I actually get paid for that. So I registered. Once you reach a certain level with YouTube, you can apply for their partnership thing, and I did that, and I don't get paid much. I'll probably get about $150 every couple of months. So it's not a lot, but I've got a few YouTube things there. And I think sometimes you've got to think, what can I give away that I'm okay with? And then how that can tempt enough people to kind of go, oh, I want to know more. And obviously you'll get people who are really creative and kind of go, oh, and I do this, oh, that's how they've done that, and I can work the rest out. And then you'll get other people who can't work it out and kind of go, oh, I need to do the course. And so we have a few things that are out there, and some of them I don't tell them exactly how I'm doing it. So it'll be, I'm doing this today, I'm doing this dyeing of this fabric, and they'll just watch me. So I'm not telling them how I do some of the processes or the chemicals or whatever I'm using. So if they want to know that, they'll have to enroll in the course. So that is a bit of a, what shall I give away? But we do have now, so we use ManyChat. I don't know, do you know what ManyChat is? So that's kind of, you put, say the word gift, and I will give you this, whatever it is, a downloadable pattern. And so we've done a few of those, and that's a really good way to build up your email list. So they give you their email list and you give them something. And it might even, I don't do it for a link to the blog posts because I think that's not enough. So if I'm actually giving them something that's more substantial, like I've got a list of plants that you can use for basket weaving, and it's quite an in-depth list, and it's out of the book. And so I will ask for their email address, and then you can build up your email, which I think your email list is crucial to your sales if you're selling something. So yeah, it depends what it is. And I try and when I'm designing something like a curriculum or something, I'll hang on it. Well, that bit can be for free, and the rest, if they want that, they'll need to pay for it.
Yeah, that's wise. So what is ManyChat? It's
ManyChat is I suppose it's a program, and they will, you sign up for that, and I think you get, how much do you get? How much do you charge? I don't know how much it is. You'd have to look into it because this is something that my lady does for me. So you put into that like a word, and then you link it with your Instagram or Facebook. And then when people actually put this word in their comments, then they get the link.
So they'll be like, and the comment basket, and then you get the
It's all automated. You can do it manually, but this is all automated. And then at the end of the month, they charge you a fortune for that process. So it's like, oh my goodness, $75 for that. That was a lot of money. But hopefully you've got like a few hundred more email addresses. Yeah.
So tell us about your book.
Okay. So when was it? I was away for a weekend with some basket makers, some friends, and we were just making stuff, and it was really nice. It was good. And I thought, I was looking at them and thinking, I think there's a book in this. You know, we could kind of have what's the word? Feature people in the book, that artists that are actually doing things and doing interesting things. And I didn't want it to be a traditional basket book. I just didn't. And anyway, so I started to collect things together, and it took me 3 years to do. So it took a while to kind of bring together, and it was going to be a basket book. But then when I looked at all the artists that I had, they weren't basket makers, they were basketry sculptors. So all the work in the book is basically sculptures rather than functional pieces. So they're very, can you see that?
Yeah.
They're very kind of different kind of types of work. I'm using very unusual materials sometimes. And so I thought, oh, the book needs to be different. So it actually changed trajectory when we kind of looked at it and thought, so I kind of had, it was about creating sculptural basketry. And eventually I finished it, and then I put it out for pre-sale. I think we got about 450 sales, which was, that paid for the cost of the book. So that was really good. And then it was self-published. So I published it myself through a company called Ingram Spark, and they work with self-publishers. And but the other wonderful thing that they do, so they print your book, and you can get it printed in the UK or the US, Europe, and South America, I think. And so they print it for you and will distribute it for you, and then you get a royalty. Or I can get it printed physically and sent to me, and I can distribute it. So there's lots of different ways of doing it. And they also will have like a catalogue where people can look at the catalogue and think, oh, I'll get that book and we'll get that book. So shops can buy it as well. And it just did really well. The first, like when it was first launched, I've sold about 8,000 copies now. So it's kind of like, it blew my mind to think that that could happen. And I get a royalty every month of about $500. So that's, I don't do anything. That's through Amazon and Ingram Spark, and it just comes into my bank account. It's like, wow, you know, that's pretty cool when you don't have to do anything. And then I also have a particular marketing strategy that I have used, and we have sold it to most of the national galleries in Australia. So each state has its own gallery, like main gallery. They all stock it. Some major garden places to stock it, and they just keep ordering it, which is just fantastic. So I feel very humble that it's worked, because it was a bit of a struggle to put together, but it was good.
Yeah.
So,
Amazing. That's so cool.
It's
yes.
a physical thing as well. Must be very,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And I haven't released it as an ebook. I just feel a bit scared about doing that. Like, it could easily be taken, you know, if there's a document out there that's in digital form, it could easily be duplicated. So I haven't done that.
And I love what you're doing now after obviously having the success and obviously like feeling great about it, and it's like sharing, and you've created this course of how to get a book published.
Yeah.
People come onto the course, and have you done it a couple of times now, did you say? Or
I've done 2 webinars, and we're now creating it as a course. So it'll sit on my website and people can buy it. So it'll be an online course. Not quite sure. We will have like mentoring opportunities. So if people want to talk to me one-to-one, they can do that. So yeah.
I was just wondering what people's obstacles are that they kind of stops them. What have you found that people have said are the things that get in the way of them putting a book out?
Well, there's a really interesting statistic, which I didn't know till I started to do some research for the course. And it said that only 6 people, what was it? 6 people out? Yeah, 6 people out of 1,000 who start to write a book will finish it.
Right.
That is phenomenal. And I thought, oh, I'm one of the 6 people.
You are.
And I know, and it's like, that's not like me at all. Like, so that was kind of cool. But it's also like you start to write something, or you start to do something, and then you kind of go, oh no, do I have to finish this? I don't know if I can finish it. And it's a massive commitment to write a book, whether it's a novel or whether it's a non-fiction book or a how-to book or whatever. And there were two people who wrote a book before I wrote this one, and I spoke to them. They used the same mob, Ingram Spark, and one woman did a whole book just on granny squares, crochet granny squares. And I'm thinking, how can you write a whole book on granny squares? But she did, and she used to have like a blog post that came out every month with a new square. So she had this good following. So she did that book, and then she's made about 12 books, and they're all really successful. And then another friend of mine did another one, and they both helped me work out how to do things. And I just thought that was so helpful. I just thought other people need to have that information. And like, I also, which was really interesting, a couple of months ago, I got approached by the Bloomsbury group to write a book about sustainable like craft. And it was like, oh, but actually what you get for it, like I would get $1 a book. And it was really like not worth it at all. Like I put a year of work into it, and I get this minuscule amount. And of course, they were also relying on, because I've got quite a few followers, that I would promote it. So I just thought, you know what, I'd just rather do it myself. And it was something that I've got in my mind to do anyway. And I thought, no, I don't think that's going to work. So it's interesting that you could get approached after you've done one, but it's still not as what you actually get from it isn't as worth what you do yourself.
Yeah. I was going to ask, actually, now you've done one and it has been such a lovely success, do you feel that you have more in you to
yes. many, but it's a huge commitment. So I have got an idea, and it's kind of mapped out. So it's similar to the one that the guy approached me about. And I thought, well, that's interesting. So about textiles and using recycled textiles and stuff like that, fabrics. So I was talking to the lady who works with me today. I said, I think next year we have to do it, or else it'll just not get done. It'll just go on and on and on. And now when you've done one, you kind of go, right, that's what we need to do first, and this is how we're going to do it, and that whole thing. So
do you put any onus on the kind of theory? I don't know, have you read, what's the book in my mind?
Big Magic?
Yes. See?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's good. Very good.
There's a book called Big Magic. I don't know if you've read it, but she talks about, who is it?
Elizabeth Gilbert.
He talks about having an idea, and it kind of only stays with you for so long, and that if you don't act on it, that idea will go to somebody else. And we feel like that quite a lot, and we have a couple of ideas, we've talked about it before, that we tie down. We're like, no, stay, we're just really busy. Just tied it to a tree in my house. So we're hoping it's still there. And
it is, because what it is seeping out in different ways.
Yes, it is.
We couldn't make it work how we wanted it to.
Yeah.
And now it seems to be the idea is coming at us, but not how we...
Like a fungus.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Like a good fungus.
Fungus is good. But yeah, because I was just thinking about your book saying like, we need to do this or it's going to go away. Are you kind of in that church of thinking?
Absolutely. I love Elizabeth Gilbert, and that was what came out of that book for me too. It's like, oh, we have to do it, or it's going to go to someone else. And there's so many times you kind of go, but that was my idea, and it's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I love her. And she does I don't think she does it now, but she did do like a podcast for women. And I listened to quite a few of those, and they were interesting too. But I do like her book, and I've got it on audiobooks. I'll listen to it in the car a few times. So, that's right.
To go back to for like re-inspiration. If I'm feeling like stressed about like what we're doing creatively, or if I'm just feeling like unfulfilled, I'll go back, read that, and it's kind of re-inspiring. So.
Have you read The Artist's Way?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a really, and it's like a program that you can follow. I did it during COVID. I thought, oh, I'm going to do this,
Yeah.
and it's really, it kind of focuses you, and I think that's really good, the artist's way.
And we'll
Okay.
do it. I quite often think about it, and I think I must
Yeah.
find, because it is just about
Is
sort
it
of
like a
getting
pause?
everything out of your
Okay.
brain, and so the creativity.
Yeah.
I've mentioned that before. Yeah. So you got room.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Good. Well, that's a
But
little
then
book recommendation from us all.
Yeah. It's also then it becomes something that you sort of add in, you have to add into your routine, like we talk about with meditation and all these things. You have to sort of put it in. I think a lot of people sort of see us as, oh, that's nice, they're singing, you know, oh, they're doing something else again. But actually the amount of channeling and of energy and creativity, so that it isn't all over the place as well. So
Yeah, it is interesting what people think, isn't it? You know, like people kind of go, oh, that's nice, she's making baskets.
Yeah.
So you kind of think, well, yeah. Oh, they're having a nice sing.
You always
They don't
say,
see all that.
aren't you brave?
Yeah. Or
Yes, we're
you're
very
quite good, really. Yes.
What, did you think I was going to be really crap?
That's why we're being paid to be here. But yeah. So
Yeah,
what about just in general, kind of what have you, well, I've just got written down kind of what have been some of the biggest challenges that you faced in kind of either with the craft school, a particular project, or just generally with regards to creativity and or feeling blocked or whatever. What are kind of some of the biggest challenges you faced, and how have you, I mean, you've obviously talked about how you've come across, got over some of those, but were there any that came to mind?
I think one of the biggest challenges is tech. So how to learn all this new tech stuff. It's always changing. How to create enough content, you know, that's massive. You kind of go, and then you go, right, I've had enough, I'm not doing anymore. And then you might put one post up a month, and then everything starts to go, and you know, you don't sell anything. So you think, oh, I really need to do this. So that's a real challenge. So just constantly thinking of ideas, because then when you've got to force it, it's not as creative, it's forced. So I think that's really hard. Some of the other challenges are, you kind of got, okay, well, I'm making a living at this now. Can I keep making a living at it? And then you have a really quiet week and you go, oh, that's it. And like during COVID, everybody was doing craft and things and gardening and cooking and stuff. So anybody who was selling that kind of stuff, their sales rocketed, including mine. But then once everybody started going back to work, it's like, oh no, you know, it's a completely different story. So you've got to keep, and I think everyone's in the same boat, you know, it was huge. And then it's like, oh, it's not now. So you've got to really work, you've got to work harder. And then one of the other challenges is I'll give myself, all right, I'm putting a new course out and I have to do it before I go to England, right? It's got to be finished. And you go and get to the day before you go and you go, I can't do any more, you know, and it's not going to happen. So you do a bit while you're in England, and then you come back and kind of go, right, I've got to finish it now. And that's really hard, because you can lose your mojo and kind of, yeah. So that's a big challenge. Keeping your bookkeeping up to date.
Sorry, I was just going to carry on with bookkeeping because that's a challenge for us as well.
Yeah. So yeah, bookkeeping is always hard. So, you know, keeping your receipts, I have a bookkeeping program. And I have a bookkeeper. So because I earn a certain amount of money, I have to pay like the equivalent to VAT. So it's called GST here. So that it has to be up to date, has to be right, has to be. So I employ someone to do that. But I still have to do all the bits behind it. So yeah, it's just keeping it up to date. So yeah, they're pretty, you know, big challenges. And I did have one woman contact me from Denmark and said, you can't do that. That's my idea, and I've written a book about it. And I went, oh, really? I don't even know who you are. You know, it was really, and it was a technique. And her book, she'd written a book in Danish, And I'm thinking, really? I can't read it. You know, it was really quite bizarre. And I thought about it for a while and thought, no, I don't think you have got a case there. And that's challenging when people do that. You can't do this, you're copying me, or I've had the idea first. And I thought, no, that's not right. So you've got to, you know, legal stuff comes up too, and you've got to work that out. And is that right? Is that not right? You know, and then if somebody copies you, what do you do? And I did have a woman who came to my workshop, and within 2 weeks, she was running workshops and using photos from my workshop for her workshop. And I thought, okay, well, she can run the workshop. I can't do anything about that, but you're not using my photos. So I emailed her and told her she had to take the photos down. Yeah, so there are things like that that you have to kind of deal with, which isn't very nice.
It sounds like you found someone. I was just thinking about you working by yourself and that this is your brand really, and that it's a lot of you. It sounds like though you're techie lady, you found a way to kind of share that, at least that mental bit. Is that the main person you share with, or, or do you have another group of people that you share with, or who kind of support?
Yeah, well, I've got a few friends that I will share with, and sometimes you just need to offload. And I think that's one of the challenges is working on your own. Like the woman who is working with me, she works at home, and we have a catch up usually once a week or once a fortnight and chat about stuff. She's really good. And I think that finding people, so you do need to find people that you can have an honest download, you know, of stuff that's happened, or even ideas. You know, I've got this idea. Do you think it's any good? Or yeah, you do need that, definitely. And I do have a few people that I can do that with. But Tony, my husband, I'll just jump up out of my studio and I'll go, what do you think of blah, 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 blah? And I'll just, you know, and he'll go, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Or I'll be moaning about something and he'll go, oh, and I'll say to him, I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to listen to me. So poor Tony.
Well, we just have that like tattooed on our foreheads, I think. Don't fix it, just listen.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Outside of your business then, it's kind of linked. What do you do? Like, because obviously we found that we've kind of done what we did creatively, and now we've turned it into our main business and how we earn our money. So now you kind of leaves that hole for that creativity almost that you still need, because this is now your job and there's a certain amount of stress that comes with it. What do you do for creativity? Fun?
Yeah, so I try and walk every day, which isn't creative. It's just kind of keeping my brain and my body active. But I do like to paint. So, and that I don't do that in my work at all. So I've actually just recently bought a new table to go on my deck, and I will sit and I'll paint. But it's gone really cold again now, so I haven't done it for a few weeks. But I love sitting outside with my watercolors, and I did some acrylic painting the other weekend, and so I've got a lot of space. I'm really lucky. I've got a lot of space in my house. So it's quite a big house. It should have about 5 children in it, but there's only Tony and I. And there used to be a cat, but she's gone now. So I've got a big studio. I've got another quite a big bedroom that's my workroom, which is my sewing machines. Then I've got an outside deck where it's got a sink with hot and cold water, and I do all my dyeing and stuff. But when I do my own stuff, I take over the dining room. So I don't do it in my studios. So I'll kind of go, right, I'm doing this, okay? I'll put it away at the end of the day, get my portable table out, and I'll spread my stuff out, and that's what I do. So I take over the whole house, you know.
You need to be in a different space to the space you associate with
work.
That's
right. You do. Absolutely.
We talk about that a lot, like needing our own space for work so that our houses don't feel like space. That is work. So, but at the minute, this is what we've got. And every now and then we'll go and hire a dance studio or try and be outside. Well, we don't really try and be outside. That in our minds, we try and be outside, but we never end up doing that because it's always too cold. Space is really important, and you can't switch off if it's the space that you're doing your work creative thing in.
Yeah.
So we all need a 5-room
Yeah,
things.
we are manifesting
Yeah.
an office of some sort.
Yeah.
And,
Got to have a fridge, a coffee machine, and a big window that we can see out, like
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. It's on the list.
Yeah. But it is important to have those separate spaces, and that's obvious. I hadn't really thought about it before, Joni, but like it is to have that. That's why I go in the dining room and not the other rooms. So yeah.
Cool. One of the last questions that we kind of ask everybody, we don't kind of, we do ask everybody, is if you could go back to yourself, maybe before you came out to Australia, or maybe even before you when you were at school, and give yourself a piece of advice, or if there was something you could change, is there anything you'd say to yourself, or is there anything you'd do differently?
I think you would know about this too, but like when you're younger, your confidence is really low and lacking, and you kind of think, oh, I don't think I can do that. Although I have got a personality where I'll just give it a go, and then I'll be scared,
Doing
you know,
it.
later, and go, why? Like I always interview really well for a job, but when I get the job, I am terrified that they'll find out I'm a fraud. I thought, oh, you didn't really think I was that good, did you? So I think it's about having that confidence. I think being female is really difficult, like when you're in certain situations. So, standing up to yourself and, I think being the confidence thing and just telling yourself it's actually all going to be okay. And, but that's difficult to tell yourself, but yeah. And even like as you get older, I find that now, like I'm 64 now, and I just think there should be more things for older people. Like there's all these baby boomers that have had quite a different life to our parents. And then like there's lots of creativity, there were lots of hippies in our day, and then it was punk and it was all quite radical. And now we don't want to be quiet. We don't want to just be old and I don't know, be boring. We want to do things, and we want to go places, and we want to make things. And yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities there for people our age too. So I kind of, want to do more things. So I think also maybe one of the big things is do it now, don't wait. That's probably a big piece of advice, I would say. Don't wait. Just like Ben, my son, he's 40 at his next birthday, and he's going, oh my goodness, Mum, I'm 40, and and he's always had this thing about, oh no, it's not quite right. It's not quite right. No, it needs to be better than that. I need this piece of this musical instrument or this piece of software or whatever, and I've got to do it really well. And I said to him, you've just got to do it. You just got to do it. Don't wait.
Yeah. And
Don't
you've
wait for things to be perfect.
And you've raised two amazing creatives, haven't you? There's creativity running all the way through your generations.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there is. Yeah.
I was gonna say, actually,
I think that's to do with the personality as well. Like we're all a bit on the spectrum, I think. We're all kind of crazy, kind of with our ideas. And so I think and I think maybe it's the creativity that makes us like that, or the other way around. I don't know. We're all kind of like, oh, we'll give it a go.
Yeah, I was, when you were talking earlier about finding time to sort of do your creativity when the children were younger, I was going to ask if they were creative, because it both of us, well, my daughter is of an age at the moment where she just has to come along to everything we do, and she wants to now be involved. And it's sort of when they see you working in a creative field, not just doing a job that you don't really want to be in, and it sucking the life out of you. It must spark something. I remember it from my parents as well. But yeah.
That's the other thing. So like Ben always talks about this, and I remember instilling into them when they were younger that networking is really important. So if you want your, whatever it is, to find the right person to work for, or to put your product out there, or to get a venue to sing in or whatever, networking, and I'm sure you both do this, but networking is so important, and it's a way of getting your message out there, whatever it is. And I know Ben is great at networking, and he goes, oh, you always said this, Mum, and you always did this. And I thought, yeah, keep doing that. And he's had great, you know, he worked. Do you know Carl Cox, the DJ guy? No, look him up. Anyway, Ben's worked with Carl Cox a few times. He had that big rave place in Ibiza, the Ibiza. But yeah, he's worked with him, and he's worked with some really pretty good people, and it's because he just sticks his neck out and goes, I'm here, you know. So I think that's probably something that I would tell my younger self, that's really important.
Because same season I came, my mum is your sister, but my mum always modeled making time for creativity. Like, it was always something she made, not a priority, but it was a time, and she did it, and she made time to do it, and that was immovable, and it was something she put in. And my dad as well, but obviously kind of it's just good to have that around, isn't it? Because I hope that my children see that as well. And because I think sometimes it gets pushed into being the last thing you make time for, especially when you're busy, or when you're growing up, or when you've got young children, obviously. It's sometimes the last thing, but actually modeling that leaves a legacy of creativity for your children and for them. So
no, that's good. Good old Julie.
Well, thank you so much. This has been like really enlightening. I love it. I really love it. Can't believe
thank you for asking me. Yeah, it's good to have a chat, and it makes me think too, you know. Yeah, that's good.
Yes, thank you. It has been really lovely to meet you, and after hearing so much about you. Yes.
Thanks, Joni, and good luck with your endeavours too. So hopefully things will just keep going up and up and up.
Well, we're hoping to come to Adelaide Fringe.
Oh, Adelaide's really, that is the place.
Yeah. Okay.
Every time I say it, Susan does that.
We really hope you enjoyed that chat. We certainly did. We did, and we learned a lot, and have really enjoyed sort of talking about it again and thinking about so many things that she mentioned that we thought, we should put that into practice.
Yeah, it's really nice talking to someone who is the other side of starting a creative business and actually has run many creative businesses, but it's really good to hear practical things you can do, and also the same frustrations that come up in terms of like modern, like running social media and the kind of push and pull with that. It's glad to know that someone else finds that frustrating as well.
Yeah, and the fact that she wants more all the time, more things to do. You know, it doesn't matter what process we're in, what age we are. Actually, sometimes it's just a certain few people that are constantly putting these things together, which is great. But it's nice when someone else does it as well. You can just show up.
And like you were saying, the importance of finding pockets of time and making space for your creativity outside of the business as well. So thank you so much, Ruth, for talking to us, and we hope that you have learned a lot.
Yes.
So whatever you're doing, do it now.
Do it now.
And just
do it anyway.